Hello, I'm Richard Winters, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the Snaffle bit. Maybe the go-to bit in more situations than any other bit that you could possibly use. If you brought me a horse, I didn't know anything about him, you said, well, I think he's broke, and you needed me to ride him and check him out, I would just go to a Snaffle, probably a pretty safe call. But there's all kinds of different Snaffles. This one I have in my hand here is probably my go-to bit, an egg butt Snaffle that I really like. It rests pretty secure in a horse's mouth compared to some other Snaffle bits. Standard Snaffle bit is probably 5 inches or 5 1/4 as far as width is concerned. This particular mouthpiece is probably a standard width as far as the thickness of this. And some people, I think, get frustrated with the Snaffle bit. They don't feel like they have enough control because maybe they're just pulling back all the time, pulling on those reins. But that's not what your Snaffle bit was made to do. This Snaffle bit was made to use laterally, side to side. And if we get to pulling back on both reins, you're probably not gonna like it. Variations, this particular bit here, similar to what you might consider a D-ring Snaffle. Maybe the more traditional D-ring would come all the way up to the apex of this circle. But again, the D-ring, perhaps what it will do, it'll keep the bit from running through the horse's mouth quite so much, as there's a stop gap here compared to just a ring Snaffle or my egg butt Snaffle. As far as those bits running through our horse's mouth, and if you're from an English background, this might be a little bit foreign to you, but I really like and feel like I need a chin strap on my Snaffle bits. So why do you need a chin strap? There's no leverage there. That chin strap, as you use your bit properly, side to side, is gonna keep that bit from running all the way through your horse's mouth, left and right. And so it can be loosely fit, and it looks like it's not doing anything, but it really will do something for you. Most of the great horsemen that I know are adjusting their Snaffle bits these days a little bit lower than perhaps what you're used to. Not just pulling it up until there's a couple wrinkles in the horse's mouth, letting that hang just below a wrinkle. Because when you pull it up tight, no matter how soft your horse tries to get, he'll never get away from that pressure. You might find them play around with it a little bit more at first when it hangs down a little bit lower, but if you have nice quiet hands, after a little bit of time, they'll learn to just hold that bit in their mouth and be quiet with it. So I might encourage you just to maybe let that Snaffle bit hang down a little bit lower than perhaps what you're used to. I've got another bit here. A loose ring Snaffle has a lot of movement. And this particular mouthpiece is a twisted wire, not that uncommon to many of you. And in all reality, it has a little more bite to it. If your horse has got to leaning on you and pulling against you and you feel like you really do have good feel, timing, and balance, then it would not necessarily be inappropriate to go to something like this. Just a word of caution, don't get into the bigger bit syndrome where, well, you used to work pretty good in that, now I gotta go to this and now I gotta go to that. But truly the Snaffle bit is the go-to bit. You can't hardly get in trouble with them on the horse maybe you don't know that much about and you're trying to check them out, or you need to go back and do a little remedial work. I think you're gonna like what a Snaffle bit will do for you. Remember, it's not pulling back on both reins. It's a lateral mechanism and it's made to use one rein at a time. Give that a whirl and I think you'll like it.